Hi guys, hi. My name is Waihiga and welcome back to my channel. This is the Mental Wellness channel. Higgs. I'm Waihiga aka Higgs, hence Higgs. Welcome to the Mental Wellness channel. How are you guys? Happy new month. It's December and I know what December means to a lot of you guys. If you don't know, my name is Waihiga and I'm an alcoholic, and right here on this channel I like to discuss all things to do with health, mental wellness, mental illness, and how we recover from these things. So, I want this message to be about what happens when you get newly sober. And even before we get to that point, let's recap what an alcoholic is. An alcoholic is a person who cannot stop drinking. An alcoholic is a person who is allergic to alcohol. For some reason, they are dependent on alcohol spiritually, mentally, physiologically, emotionally. You have become dependent on alcohol. And so alcoholism is a disease. It is fatal, it is progressive, right? And the only cure that I know of from alcoholism is complete abstinence. And in this month of December, things get crazy. Things get crazy. It's literally like everyone has a license to drink. If you are someone who wants to stop drinking, you've identified, because nobody can tell you that you're an alcoholic. It's only you for yourself who must decide if you are an alcoholic or not. When I came to the realization that I was an alcoholic, this was back in 2017, and finally I got sober, a lot of things in my life had to change. The first thing is that everything had to change. And that sounds like a tall order. And it is, but it isn't. It depends on how bad do you want to live the alcoholic life and come into a life of recovery. For one, I had to cut off everybody. All the people, places, and things that reminded me of alcohol had to go. I literally had to move out of home because the environment around home was too triggering for me. It was way too triggering for me. So I had to find a new environment in which to get sober. Luckily, I was lucky enough to get into a halfway house or a sober living facility in which I was able to now bridge and start my foundation for sober living. That in conjunction with a 12-step program. So I had a lot of support where I was surrounded by sober people who were actually living a sober life. Not just normal sober people, but people in recovery. People who were like me, alcoholics, addicts, and such, but yet had come out of the same dark place that I had come from and were now pursuing a life in recovery. And that's without the use of drugs or alcohol. And so everything had to change. I had to stop affiliating or being in the places where I would get drunk. Can't go to bars anymore. I mean, going to bars for me is a huge trigger. Why am I going to a bar? I remember there were times when I'd have brief moments of sobriety when I would try to make myself be sober, which was really impossible. You can't do this without the help of God. However, I tried to do that and I would still end up in a bar. There's something so intoxicating about thinking I can be normal. I can live a normal life. Okay, fine. I have a problem with alcohol, but I can still do things the normal way. Meaning, I can go into a bar and sit down and order a Fanta or, a packet of juice and sit down and watch a soccer match, or, chill around with other people who are drinking, and it will still be normal. I had to say, you know what, this is some BS, because it's too much temptation. Call a spade a spade. It's too much temptation. The smell, the euphoria of being in a bar or a club, it's way too much temptation. What am I doing there? I'm not going there to dance. I'm not going to a bar to have a good time and watch a soccer game. I can do that at home. Like, what am I doing here? Yeah, I had to be very honest with myself. Also, bar friends, drinking buddies. What are we talking about? If we're not drinking, what are we talking about? Is there even a relationship here? Is there a friendship here? If we remove the alcohol. So I had to really introspect into my life and re-examine a lot of those things, and maybe some people judged me for it, but I really don't care. I had to choose myself, and I had to put myself first, and that meant disassociating with basically everyone that I used to drink with, every place that I used to drink at, all the places that I used to go, all those little locals, all the bars, all the clubs. I stopped going because I stopped lying to myself. I stopped kidding myself. What am I going to these places to do? What am I going to seek at these places? If there's no alcohol on the table, it's quite boring to me to be in a club, to be in a bar. It's very boring. In fact, it's irritating because everybody's drunk and annoying and loud, and it's smoky, and I'd just rather be in bed or something, just chilling. So I had to get rid of the people. I don't know if I would say if that was quite difficult. I think I was ready, and I think the time was due. I was ready. I was ready to let go of those relationships or those acquaintances. And the more time you get in sobriety, the more you realize you just don't have anything in common with certain people if there isn't a drink involved. If you're drinking with people, I mean, you can laugh and talk, and I mean, drink is so insidious, the drink is so insidious because you feel like this false sense of camaraderie, and we know each other on some deep levels, and we can really do life together. But when you're sober, you're really friends. When you're sober, these people really gonna come see you. Like when you're in rehab, when things have really hit the fan for you, are these people here for you? These drinking buddies. When you're trying to get your life in order, when you're trying to stay sober, when you're trying to get things right, are these people supportive of you? Or are they saying, hey, we know who you are, Ebu, just drop the act, come sit down, have a drink? Or are they saying, you know what, Kwani, you think now you're better than us because you got sober? Those are not friends. And this life is too short to sit down and try and impress anyone. It's way too short. So I had to let go of the people that I was drinking with. And I had to embrace new people in my newfound sense of freedom, which is sober people. People who were living a life that I wanted. People who had 10 years of sobriety. People had 5 years of sobriety. Hell, even someone who had a week more than I did of sobriety was a hero to me, because that's just something that was so unattainable to me at the time. And still is today. I mean, I look at someone who's 10 years sober and I'm like, wow, that's that's amazing, And so I had to start surrounding myself with sober-minded people. People who were pursuing sobriety one day at a time. And this encouraged me. And it also gave me a true feeling of camaraderie. Like, yeah, I've been exactly where you are, and I'm actually doing this thing just one day at a time. One day at a time, staying sober. By the help of God, by putting my pride aside and surrendering to God's will for my life every single day. And just asking Him in return to please keep me sober just for today. And that's how this thing has just manifested and snowballed into now 4 years and 6 months of continued sobriety. So, that being said, you have to change the people around you. Second thing, the places. You cannot go to places where people are drinking and expect that you will not be tempted, or, you know what, I'm fine. It won't get to me. You might be fine that one day. You may be fine for the next week. However, I find that when I come to tempting my fate with alcohol, it's like a seed has been dropped in me. I start getting comfortable. If I start getting comfortable around people who are drinking, there's something wrong with my program, and there's something wrong with what I'm doing. I don't necessarily feel that I should be comfortable with people drinking around me. The smell of alcohol till today, even sanitizer, like everywhere you go, and you have to spray yourself with sanitizer, or when you're going into a shopping mall and the security have to sanitize your hands, I literally pull away because the smell just reminds me of kibao. It just reminds me of vodka straight up. And it's disgusting to me. It's revolting, which is a huge miracle coming from where I've come through. That to me, one, would be a huge trigger, and two, would make me crave alcohol. But since I've gone through the process of 12 steps of recovery, a miracle happened and God took away the cravings from me. And the cravings for alcohol have not come back. However, when I was still in that place of craving alcohol, the smell of alcohol would trigger me and I would want to drink. The physical thirst would suddenly arise in me, and it would manifest in the mental thirst. So I'd start planning, I'd start constantly thinking about drinking, constantly seeing billboards of drink or adverts about alcohol. And I'd subconsciously just take it in and take it in. And before you know it, somehow I've bought a drink, and somehow my hand is opening the bottle, and somehow I've taken that first sip. And that first sip is all it takes for a person like me. Because once I've ingested alcohol in any form, whether you cook with alcohol or alcohol in a dessert like tiramisu, or even right now, like around Christmas, I have to be so careful about food. Like, I can't just go and eat a fruit cake because normally they're marinated in brandy and whiskey and stuff like that. I can't just eat that because it will immediately awaken the phenomenon of craving inside of me. And it will start all over again. I'll start having the cravings again. And I didn't intend to ingest that alcohol. Whether I intended to or I did not intend to, the minute I ingest any sort of alcohol, it immediately awakens the cravings in me, which makes me an alcoholic by definition. And so I have to be very careful about the places I'm going to and the foods that are around me. So we've covered the people. The people have to go. If any people around me remind me of drink, or if the people around me are drinking, I cannot. I simply cannot be around you. Secondly, if any place reminds me of drink, or I used to drink in those places, I cannot recover in a place that I got damaged in. How am I expected to recover in the very place where I did the most damage? I can't recover in a bar. I can't recover in a club. So I had to remove those places from my locations. And I'm way better off for it. And also foods. Be very, very picky. Be very picky. I mean, don't just go up to a punch bowl and think that it's non-alcoholic. Don't just eat foods without asking, was this made with alcohol? I mean, how was this dish made? Was this pasta made in a wine sauce? Was this seafood, these mussels, were they made in a wine sauce? French cuisine has a lot of alcohol in it. Yeah, stuff like that. You have to be cognizant of what you ingest and what you put into your body. A lot of chocolates have alcohol. I remember there was a certain chocolate, just a normal chocolate, fruit and rum or something like that. And I would eat that. And it only came to my attention from the halfway house that I was in. Someone told me, hey, you can't eat that chocolate here. It's literally rum and nut or whatever. You can't eat that. It's rum. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's a chocolate, but it has rum in it. No matter how minuscule, it still has rum in it. So you just have to be very cognizant of the things that you ingest and you put into your body. And these are the triggers that I would give advice to any newly sober person. December is a difficult time for anyone in recovery. The holidays are very hard. The holidays are a time of reflection, a time of family, a time of togetherness. And maybe a lot of us don't have that or don't feel like that. And you feel very isolated. Or you could be very depressed. I've been through depression. This year, I would say 8 months out of the year, I've been in a very deep depression. I only started coming out of it in September. And now it's December. I've still been having a bit of dips in my moods. And actually, it's been so hard to record this video because I have been in such a bad place. But I said I have to record this video because it's for the benefit of others. It's for the benefit of you and me. I wish that I had this outlet when I was newly sober. I mean, I know I have the support system in terms of the people who are in my life, who are sober and who are in recovery and who have made this journey so much easier for me. But I can imagine to the many people who may watch this video who are in the deepest of their depressions or the deepest of this alcoholism disease, alone during the holiday season, just deep in the bottle or deep in withdrawals, literally losing your mind, having the shakes, withdrawing from a substance or something, and wondering, I can't go through another year like this. I have been exactly where you've been. I have been exactly where you've been. And somehow, by the grace of God and the support of other alcoholics who are just like me, who have been doing this thing one day at a time, just staying sober one day at a time, 24 hours. Yeah. One day at a time. I have been able to come this far. And so I'm here to just shed some light, some hope, and just know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, at the end of a very long tunnel, because I know how hard this disease is. I know. So if we can recap: people, places, and things. If you're newly sober, first of all, congratulations. Well done. Well done. First of all, avoid people. People that you used to drink with. People that still drink. People that will deter you from your sober journey. Avoid places. Places that you used to drink in. Avoid places that will tempt you into drinking. And there's no shame in not having to go anywhere. There is no shame. The past 4 New Year's Eves I've slept, I have found no need to go outside and celebrate. Like, why? Why go out and, unless it's like an AA midnight meeting or something, I have found no reason to go to a club or a party and jump the new year. I'd rather do it comfortably in bed, in my sleep, with some Netflix and some popcorn. Like, I seriously, that's what I'd rather do. Don't give in to the pressures of you're expected to be here or you're expected to be there. If your family is hosting a family Christmas gathering and you know there are going to be drinks involved, do not go. If your sobriety is the most important thing to you, don't go. You don't have to show up at these places to impress people who do not feel the same pain as you do. You don't have to do it. Impress people for what? They will be able to drink like normal people, but you will not be able to drink like a normal person because you're not a normal drinker. If you can request, please guys, don't drink at this Christmas party. Or maybe you guys drink when I've already left. Is that okay? If they say okay, then that's fine. But be comfortable where you are and be vocal. Be very vocal. I will not come to this place. I will not come to this event. I will not be at this party if people are drinking. That's not where I'm at in my journey. And also, avoid things that remind you of alcohol. You know, the things, the little rituals that you have that remind you of drinking. I also say be mindful of what you ingest. The food that you take, even the chocolates that I was warning you about that may contain alcohol. The little desserts, the tiramisus that have alcohol. You know, they could also be desserts that come with amarula or Baileys or something like that. Just say no. Nah, I don't need this. I don't need this. I want to see another year, you know? So just be mindful about your surroundings. Definitely keep a close support system of sober people who are going through exactly what you're going through. And you will get through this. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you've learned something. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. To anyone that's new here, thank you so much for subscribing. Guys, thank you so much. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. This is incredible. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, this has been the Mental Wellness Channel with Higgs. Have a good December, guys.